Hello and welcome back to Gapeys' garden. As you can see, we got some snow for Christmas and it's been sticking around longer than usual because we haven't been above freezing for about 5 days, and we got some more snow, about 4 inches last night, so it's going to be around for a little while longer. The garden is pretty much done. We got down to 8 degrees, which not much can survive that. We've got all of our remains of some flowers and stuff that I'll be pulling out after the snow melts. And we've got our volunteer sunflower over here, which still has some seeds in it, and the birds have been pretty much all over this thing. There's probably not many seeds left, but they've been feasting on what they could find here. Our compost bins all covered in snow. We've actually seen some birds digging around in the compost, probably looking for seeds and anything else it could find. And everything in this bed is buried. Our poor celery is done for. Celery is normally fairly cold hardy, but when we get temps down this low, it's not going to survive, so those are done. There's a couple lettuces and things buried under there, which is probably not going to make it. Now, the greenhouse is not heated, so anything in there pretty much got as cold in there as it was outside. Down to 10 degrees. You can see here our spinach is looking nice. We've got some dinosaur kale here looking pretty good. Scarlet kale still looks good. And then I'm not sure which variety this is, but it looks like it's doing pretty well too. The Russian kale looks like it is doing pretty good still. The parsley, however, it's looking a little floppy. So we have, I think, some damage there, but I don't think it's completely dead. We've got some new growth coming out there in the middle, so I think it might be okay. This one, however, this one looks like it suffered a little bit more damage than the others, but we'll have to see if it comes back to life or not. We have tons of parsley in here, so if we did lose some, we probably have some more to take its place. This is a mustard. So we've got some damage on some of these leaves, but the center looks like it might be okay. Actually, it looks like, not sure if those are aphids in there. Hope not. And then we've got some Swiss chard here. Looks like some of the leaves have some damage. This one is pretty dead. Let's pull that out. That's a bad leaf. And the middle ones look pretty good still. This one looks like it's not good. So I just like to remove any damaged leaves, and I think the rest are pretty good. And then we've got some Egyptian walking onions back here and some radishes, which I don't expect are gonna do too much. They'll probably just end up bolting in the spring. There's not really enough light or warmth for them to reach maturity, I don't think. On this side of the greenhouse, we've got some more spinach here. That looks like it's doing really well. This one, I'm pretty sure this is the Casper kale, and it looks like it does look like it suffered some damage from the cold. And we've got some bok choy. This is the purple bok choy, and it's not looking so great, so that's got some damage. This middle leaf here, though, looks like it might still be alive, so it might return to life. Now the lettuce, this is a ice queen, I think it's called, and it definitely got some damage. This is just some rainwater that I have here that drips from the ceiling, but it looks like the outer leaves have some damage, but the center looks like it might still be okay. Got some more kale looking good here. We have a couple chicories in here, and it looks like they didn't suffer too much damage. And our thyme still looks pretty good too. So that looks good. And we've got more, this is our volunteer pepper, and it is pretty well done for, I think. And we do have more Swiss chard back here, and it looks like it got some damage. This leaf is pretty toast. So is this one. I'm not sure why it turned almost white. And the same problem with that one. But the center leaves look like they might still do okay. Got some more of the chicory over here. This purple bok choy, I don't think is going to make it. And then our celery is pretty much toast. I don't know if that middle part is gonna grow back or not. I don't think it will. But yeah, this is pretty much, I might have to pull that one out. And this lettuce actually looks like it's still pretty good, except I'm not sure what variety that is. Seemed to do a lot better than the other one. Well, that is how we're looking in the greenhouse. I've got a little bit of cleanup to do, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with what's left. I've also got a tray of some Obscura Sunset Foxgloves that I started from seed last year, and I just never got around to planting. And it looks like some of them are a little bit dry, so I might need to water some of these, but it looks like they are still alive. They are a perennial, so they're probably fairly cold hardy. So we'll see how they do, and I'll get those planted in the garden next year. And we did move our hoop house over the wintergreen bed, and we also covered it with a frost cloth, so hopefully the stuff that we have in there will be okay. You can see there's still quite a bit of snow on top of the plastic here, so we'll be brushing that off. We don't expect too much more snow, so I think we're pretty much done with the snow, but it's been pretty cold, so it's not gonna melt very quickly. We had some leeks in here, and they might survive. We'll have to wait and see. The leaves do look kind of flimsy. We had our kale that was doing really good over here is buried in snow. I'm not sure if that's gonna survive or not. Not looking too great. And nothing in our herb bed is going to be producing after this melts. We have our sage here. Sage is pretty cold hardy, so it will probably come back in the spring, but the leaves and greens that are on it right now are not probably going to be very good for eating. They're pretty much frozen and not going to do well if we harvest it. And then we've got our apple trees here. I still need to do some pruning. I usually do the apple and plum pruning in January. Here's our Desert King fig tree. Those are very cold hardy, so I'm thinking that will probably be just fine. We've got our beehives back here. Hopefully they're doing okay. And then we have one more fig tree in ground. This one did not survive the winter last year, so to be on the safe side this year, I decided to insulate it. So we've got a blanket around it, and then we put this igloo cooler around that. So hopefully that will be nice and cozy and will come back to life in the spring. Here's our asparagus bed. So this all dies back over winter. So if you haven't seen asparagus, it grows these big ferns if you don't harvest it, and that's what's left of those ferns. So we'll be pulling those out, and it'll grow back in the spring. Our blueberry bushes. We do have a couple of evergreen varieties, so that one there, you can see it still has its leaves on it. And then we've got another one here, still has leaves. Now these evergreen blueberry varieties aren't as cold hardy, so we'll have to see if this really cold temperatures have damaged it or not. A couple years ago, this one got some pretty cold damage and it didn't produce for 1 year. So we'll see if that happens again this year. The garlic bed is all covered in white. Nothing to see there. So that is pretty much what's left of the garden. Not a whole lot. We have our Anna hummingbirds have been busy at the feeder over here. Let's go take a look. So since it's been so cold, the water has been freezing on the hummingbird feeders. So a trick I learned on social media is to wrap your hummingbird feeder in Christmas lights. Now LED Christmas lights won't work, so you have to make sure they're the older type that aren't LED. And it does a pretty good job of keeping the syrup from freezing. Well, that's what's left of the garden. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.